Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of All Aboard StockCharts.com. I want to take a second and welcome our new members. This is a show for you, for the people that are new to StockCharts.com that really want to understand how to use the site effectively and how to take advantage of all the great things that we have in order to help you make better investing decisions. My name is Chip Anderson. I'm the president of StockCharts.com. And again, I want to welcome you personally to the site and try and make sure you get off on the right foot. Our goal is to help you become instantly productive with StockCharts.com today. We've only got an hour to do it. I'll be honest with you. It's going to be a challenge. I usually run out of time, but I've got some information at the end of the show about what to do and what we will be doing to try and get more information out to you above and beyond this show. The show itself is intended for newcomers. I know that we have some of our existing subscribers as well. And hi, thank you for joining. I'm going to be going over again the basics of the site just to make sure that everyone knows it's kind of the fundamental stuff that everybody needs to know in order to make the most out of the website. I don't have time to go into deep detail on a lot of the other features of the site, but again, we will have an announcement at the end of this show about when I will be able to do more deep dive stuff. There is, again, lots to cover. I have a PDF of the slides that I'll be showing you. It's up there. You see the URL, stockcharts.com/TV/allaboard.pdf. And we are recording this show. If you are unable to watch the show, you need to step away. You want to come back and see something because maybe I'm talking too fast or it doesn't make sense. This will all be recorded. First off, remember, if you're watching live, you've got the scrub back feature on live stream. So once the show gets going, you can take the little VCR control down at the bottom of the screen and you can scrub backwards to repeat anything that I said recently. But later, after the show is over, it'll be about an hour, we'll have the show up on our YouTube channel. So you can click on any of our YouTube links right there by the StockCharts TV window, and you'll be able to see this show again in about an hour. So keep that in mind as we're going forward. Let's move on to the next slide. Just for, again, people that are new, if you're new to StockCharts, we have a mission. We've been on this mission for 20 years. And we're going to continue to be on this mission for another 20 years, as far as I can see. Our goal is to help online investors make better investing decisions through the visualization of financial data. The ability to see where the market's going, detect trends, detect market sentiment before anybody else can see that. That's the real key to technical analysis, and that's the real key to StockCharts.com. We combine great tools with great educational content in our chart school area and great commentary in our articles area to try and help you become a better online investor. We think it's the merger of those three things that really helps everyone become better. So hopefully, if you're new to StockCharts, you've started out by taking our free trial. We have a free trial. It's available. It's a 1-month trial. We take your credit card, but we don't charge it initially. Instead, we're going to hold on to that. What I do want to remind everyone, if you are on the free trial, is at the end of the free trial, we will start charging you for your continued access to the site. And so make sure that by the end of your free trial, you've decided to either A, remain with StockCharts, hopefully, or B, if you need to cancel, that's fine. I'll show you how to cancel in just a minute. You want to do that before your free trial is over. And don't try and time that down to the second. Go ahead and make sure you cancel 1 or 2 days earlier at least. There's also by the end of the trial, you'll want to have selected your service level. We're going to go over the different service levels here in just a minute too. You want to be either extra, pro, or basic, and you want to make sure you have that locked in by the end of your trial, because that's what we're going to provide you. Now, you can see the information about our different service levels at stockcharts.com/pricing. So if you're not clear on this, we have 3 levels, 4 really, if you count the free level. We have a bunch of free tools, which hopefully you started out with. But then if you start the free trial, we're going to start you in the middle tier of the 3 service levels we provide. The middle tier is called Extra, StockCharts Extra, and it provides you with the ability to run scans, the ability to save charts into multiple chart lists, and a whole lot of additional, the ability to create larger charts, so on and so forth. So Extra is really kind of the Goldilocks area of our site, of our offerings. It's the middle tier. It's our most popular tier. If you want to save a little money, you don't necessarily need all all the features that we have, you can go to our basic tier. Basic is a little cheaper, but you do not get access to our scanning, and you only get one chart list. On the other hand, if you need more, if you really want to do more than what Extra provides, you can do that with our Pro level. The Pro level provides more chart lists, larger charts, more historic data, whole bunch of stuff. Again, you can go to StockCharts.com/pricing, or just click on any of the pricing links that you see scattered around our site to learn more about our different service levels. During the free trial, one of the key things you have to do is decide which service level is the right level for you. And then in addition, by the way, there's a great video that explains this on that pricing page. In addition, you have to make a decision about, do I want real-time data or do I want free data? So we have free data, which does provide real-time, but it's got a trick to it I'll talk about in a second. Or do you want official real-time data from the New York Stock Exchange or from the Canadian Stock Exchange, so on and so forth? That official data is going to cost extra because there are exchange fees involved. And so we pass those exchange fees along to the exchanges on your behalf. That doesn't make us, we don't care which way you go because that money just passes straight through us. But if you need official real-time data from the NYSE and NASDAQ, you're going to need to get an official real-time data plan, as I mentioned here. But you start out initially with the BATS data plan, the BATS free real-time data plan. So what goes on here is BATS is an alternate exchange. It's one of the electronic exchanges that are out there. They have very good pricing information for all U.S. stocks. What they don't have, however, and this can be important, is good volume information. So the volume data on the BATS feed is much, much, much lower than the volume data that you'll get from the official sources like the NYSE and NASDAQ. But that often doesn't matter. It depends on your trading style, it depends on what you're trying to do, but that volume data is only suppressed. We don't show BATS volume. So we only suppress that volume data for 15 minutes because after 15 minutes, then we can give everybody the official real-time data from the NYSE, the NASDAQ, so on. So if volume data is important to you within the first 15 minutes of a trade of the stock trading, then you probably will want to get the paid data plan to get the official real-time data from the NASDAQ and NYSE. If not, if you're a longer-term investor, you're just looking at charts on a daily basis, or you're not actively trading to the point where you need volume data that quickly, the free real-time BATS program data plan will be fine for you. Again, if you go to StockCharts.com/pricing, there's a video that explains all of this in much better detail than what I just did. So hopefully that'll help. Do keep in mind, however, if you are on the free trial and you do add the real-time data plan, that will instantly convert you off of the free trial. We can't give you a free trial and the official data. So you may want to keep your free trial going until the end and then add your data plan. It's up to you. It's up to you. All right. So I'm going to just stop right there because I just covered a lot of stuff. Do we have any questions so far? Okay.
We don't actually have any questions so far, and that's actually a perfect time to go ahead and mention. If you look to the right of your video player on the StockCharts TV homepage, you guys can go ahead and type in a question to Chip during his presentation so that he can, answer them in real time. So if you're watching this live, then you get a little bit of a nice little bump.
Interaction. So, yep. This is live. So thanks, Zach. And yes, please send in your questions if you have any. I'll also, at the end of this presentation, tell you more about how you can send in questions at any time to our support staff. But I want to try and answer any questions that you have during the show if there's something pressing. All right. So now we're going to switch, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a demo, and we're going to get into actually going around the site, setting up the site, that kind of thing. I did want to just quickly show you the pricing page, and let's see if we come down here. Now I'm at StockCharts.com/pricing, and here's that video that I was mentioning before. Just play this video. It'll explain about data plans, and you can look down here and see the differences between the different levels that we have. Okay, including the prices and all this stuff. Okay, but let's get back to actually using StockCharts. What do you say? So this is the home page, and if you one of the things you need to make sure is that you log in correctly. We do have people that get a little confused sometimes, and they think they're logged in, but they're not really. So I want to make sure that everyone understands the process. This button up here in the upper right corner is going to say login. If you are logged in, you will see your name up there. If you're not logged in, you will see these buttons. And so that's the first key important thing for you to check out to see if you need to log in. When you click on login, of course, it's going to ask you for your user ID, which is your email address, and your password, which is something I can't remember. There we go. And then you have a choice of clicking Remember Me. And I think you know this. This is how most sites work here these days on the internet. If you are on a computer that is your computer and no one else uses it, clicking Remember Me is a really good time saver. On the other hand, if you're on a computer that you're sharing with other people, probably don't want to click Remember Me. You're probably going to want to log in each time. Okay, but once you do that, click Login. Now you are on what we call the members dashboard. It's labeled Your Dashboard up here in our navigation area. And this is kind of the central location, the hub for a lot of what you do on StockCharts.com. So, and once you notice I'm logged in and I now have my name up here in the upper right corner. And again, I'm on the members dashboard. And if I click on the StockCharts logo, it's going to take me right back here to the members dashboard. I no longer really see the homepage that much, the official StockCharts homepage anymore. Instead, I'm always being brought back to the members dashboard because that's where I want to see what I want to do things. It's the homepage for members when you're logged in. It gives you access to a whole bunch of our tools. In fact, most of our tools are here inside of this member tools panel on the left. Just remember, you can scroll inside of this panel. What I'm doing here is just moving my mouse wheel to scroll up and down. So it's a list of all the different tools that we have. Next to that is the market overview. This is a very quick way to get a sense of, is the market up, is the market down, or is the market mixed? And so yesterday we can see the market basically went sideways. It was up for a little while, then down, then up, then down. It's a crazy day. And it ended up just a little bit higher than where it started. This is the Dow. I can click here to see what the NASDAQ did. It was a little more consistently down. There's the NYSE, a little more consistently up. The S&P 500 was a little more consistently neutral, mixed. And we also can see that here in the colors and the numbers on the chart here. So this is just intended for a very quick way to get you a sense of what's the market doing today. Is it up? Is it down? Is it sideways? So on. Over on the right here is a panel which is very customizable. We'll talk more about customization in a minute, but it gives me a choice of seeing a lot of different tables of data. So initially, it's probably going to be set for you. It'll be a top 10, and it'll be the top 10 Dow stocks. So here, these are Dow stocks, and these are the top 10 most active Dow stocks. We can also see the top 10% up, the top 10% down. We can change from Dow to S&P 500, maybe see the most active S&P 500s or the most up. So we see WDC did very well yesterday, whereas Ulta did very poorly. There was some kind of big change in Ulta, I guess. So on and so forth. And you have other exchanges as well that you can choose from to see this top 10. In addition, you can go and see scooters, our SCTR rankings. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Ticker Cloud is something else I want to talk about. I'll talk about it now because I think it's pretty cool. The Ticker Cloud is essentially a list of ticker symbols that are currently popular with StockCharts.com users right now. So we keep track of all the different tickers that people are trying to create charts for, and this is essentially showing you which one of those tickers, some of those tickers that are really, really popular. And so what I do is I look at this and I keep my eyes open for anything I don't recognize, a ticker symbol that I'm not really sure what it's all about. Maybe FSLY. I haven't been keeping up, but here we go. That's Fastly. And it is evidently a very interesting stock right now. So you can see that by clicking on any of these tickers, we immediately get a chart of it. And that's what the Ticker Cloud is all about, is alerting you to new opportunities. All right. The rest of the members dashboard we will get to later. Some of it is important and some of it not so much for this presentation. But I wanted just to give you a quick overview of these top 3 panels. And again, you can get to any of our tools over here on the left. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh yes, the chart bar. So the chart bar is this area up at the top of the screen. And it almost always is used to get to our main charting tool, which is called Sharpcharts. The main charting tool is always available to you. Just simply type a ticker symbol up at the top, like we can type Johnson & Johnson. By the way, as I type, you'll notice you're very familiar with us, I'm sure, from Google and other kinds of websites. You can just start typing the name, or you can type part of the ticker symbol, whatever you want, and we will try and help you select the ticker symbol that you want. So if you don't remember the symbol, you can just start typing. But once you have the symbol you want, you can just press enter or press go. And now we are over here on our Sharpcharts workbench. I will show you that I'll show you something else that you can use this drop down over here on the chart bar to pick the other charting tools that we have as well. So if you wanted to create a P&F chart really quickly, you would select P&F chart, type a ticker symbol there, and now you're over here on P&F charts. We'll go back over what these pages are in just a minute, but I just wanted to show you kind of how this chart bar up here works. One last thing before we get too much further, and that is the search area. So this little magnifying glass over here on the right is the search, and you can use search to search for all different kinds of things. Typically, initially when you do a search, we're going to look through our support articles area. But after we do that, you can select, hey, maybe I don't really want a support article. Maybe instead I want to see our Chart School article. Or maybe I want to see if any of the authors, any of the blog authors were talking about MACD recently in this case, so on and so forth. So don't forget, once you do a search, you're searching probably the support area first. You might want to check and see if any of these other areas contain the thing that you're interested in. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else over here? No. What I'm going to do is go to the next page of my slides. And we want to talk about creating great charts. So specifically, what can you do? Let's go back to the dashboard. What can you do to see and look at charts for a particular ticker symbol? You're interested in a stock. Let's say it's Amazon. There it is right here. And we want to dive into it more. Now, most people will immediately type Amazon here in the chart bar and press enter, and they'll be taken to our Sharp chart. And that's not a bad approach. That's a fine approach. But I want to suggest to you there might be something you want to do first. I think this is one of our most underutilized features. Maybe I'll do something to make it more visible in the future. But I want to talk for a second about gallery view. Gallery view is a predefined set of charts. It's 4 charts for a particular symbol. So you type in a symbol, you select gallery view, like I've done here, and you press return. And now you're going to see, without any work on your part, 4 really good charts going from a short-term view, a very short-term view, all the way out to a very long-term view for Amazon. And especially if you're starting out with stock charts, I think this is a great place to start, and just to study these charts and make sure you understand what these charts are telling you. Because until you do that, then all the other crazy things you can do with sharp charts will probably just be confusing. These are the basics. These are the indicators and the collection of chart visualizations for a stock that I think is really worth understanding. So let's take just a second and go through this quickly. We've got an intraday view here. This is essentially a 3-day chart where each bar represents 10 minutes of time. And so we get a quick sense of, is the stock going up, going down, or going sideways. Zooming out a little bit, the next chart is daily view. And so this is probably about a 6-month, maybe a little less, time frame for the stock, where each bar represents a day. We also get some indicators coming in here, one called the PPO and one called the Chaikin Money Flow, or CMF. This is showing us the stock's momentum, and this is showing us the stock's money flow. In other words, are people putting money into or taking money out of the stock? There's a couple other things we can look at too, but we'll get back to that. And then finally, down at the bottom is the weekly view. It's not finally, this is the next one. This gives us a almost 2-year view of the stock and where the stock is. And it continues along, showing us the long-term momentum, the long-term moving averages, and the long-term relative strength relative to the S&P 500. Finally, and this is one of my favorite features of our site, is our point and figure charting. Point and figure charts, unfortunately, I can't, if you're not familiar with them, I encourage you to learn more. Basically, when the stock is in an uptrend, it'll be in a rising column of a rising column of X's. And when it's a downtrend, it will be in a falling column of O's. And so each one of these up and then down and then up and then down. These will be trend lines or kind of sideways movements on a regular chart, but on a P&F chart, they're vertical movements. So up and down, depending on how volatile the stock is. And a really nice thing about the P&F chart is that you get automatic trend lines, and you also get automatic pattern recognition. So chart patterns can automatically be recognized on a P&F chart. What we're seeing here is that Amazon is above its long-term P&F trend line, and the last signal that it had was a bullish signal. It sounds bearish, but it's actually a bullish signal called a bear trap, which happened just a couple of days ago. So we're hoping that the stock will continue in this rising call vexes to move higher. We shall see. If it isn't, it's going to test its trend line pretty soon. Again, we've got a lot more information about P&F charts in our chart school area, and I encourage you to look at that. But the bottom line is, in gallery view here in one page, we have a lot of information. It's good, solid, basic technical information, and it's worth taking a little bit of time to fully understand it. On the short term, we see that the trend lines or the moving average lines, I should say, are kind of scrambled and going sideways. Longer term, we see that Amazon is testing its 200-day moving average. Right here, the red line, it's been testing that since the beginning of August. It's bounced off it 1, 2, 3 times. And if that breaks down, that could be a very negative development for the stock. We see that its momentum has been moving sideways, but is below zero, which is also not a positive thing for the stock. It needs to get some more momentum. It's run out of momentum, essentially, is what that's saying. And we can also see that the checking money flow, which is an estimate of money coming into or going out of the stock, is negative, although it recently got back to zero, and it's actually sitting right at zero as of the close yesterday. So on and so forth. We see that the relative strength line for Amazon, which if it's going up, that means Amazon's outperforming the S&P. Recently, it's been going sideways to maybe slightly down, meaning Amazon is starting to underperform the S&P 500. And I've already told you about the P&F chart. So there, again, lots and lots of really interesting information here. This is a great place to start. So don't forget about gallery view. I'll show you one other thing you can do is you can take two stocks. Let's take Intel and Microsoft, and you can put them together on gallery view with a comma. Actually, let's go to change this to gallery view. And then press enter. And now we see two gallery views side by side, and I can compare these two stocks. If my monitor was wider, it helps to have a wide monitor with StockCharts for sure. You could compare those two stocks. So don't forget that. That's a neat little trick that very few people know, to be honest with you. Something we need to publicize better. Okay, any questions, Zach? Any gallery view questions yet?
We don't have any gallery view questions. All questions primarily at this point are being related towards ACP.
ACP, well, that's something that we'll talk about at the end of the presentation. We'll get into that in just a little bit. It's a more advanced thing. We want to make sure everyone understands the basics before I get into the advanced stuff. Okay.
I will say there is one question that is a bit basic that you could cover probably in the next 30 seconds is how to turn on the ticker cloud, which we are looking at on your screen, how to turn that on somebody's
excellent question. So when you
homepage.
in the Your Dashboard area, when you initially pull up your dashboard, especially if you're a new member, you'll probably see this. You'll probably see the top 10 Dow stocks over here on the right side. Okay, but it's this drop down here, this blue drop down that says top 10 allows you to change this to a variety of different displays. And one of those displays, the one in the middle here, is ticker cloud. And that's how I did that. So hopefully that helps. There's a couple other ways to get to ticker cloud, but this is the way that I prefer. All right, so now let's go back and talk about Sharpcharts, which is the star of the show, if you will. This has been our charting platform for the past 20 years, and it will be our charting platform for the next 20 years too. And what I want to show you here was, first off, the chart itself and go over the pieces of the chart. I created the chart by simply clicking on a ticker symbol, or I could also do it by typing a ticker symbol here. And if you haven't done any customization to your account, you will see a chart that looks like this. In just a minute, I'll show you how you can change this so that it will look different. If you have different preferences, you can tweak those. But for now, if you haven't done any tweaks or customizations, this is what you see. It's a daily chart of the ticker symbol that we asked for, in this case, Apple, in candle glance mode or candlestick mode, going back for a couple of months. It's this size. It has the RSI indicator up top, and it has the MACD indicator down below. It has red candles for going down and black candles for going up, similar for the volume bars. It has the 50 and 200-day moving average, so on and so forth. All of these are the standard things. The chart itself has three pieces that I want to point out to you. The first is this area here in the middle. This is what we call the price plot area. This is where the main ticker symbol for the chart, in this case, Apple, this is where its price information appears. The vertical scale here is the price of the stock. This is also where all of the technical overlays appear. And overlays are things like these moving average lines. They are things that appear on top of the price bars that are on the same scale as the price bars. So the moving average here is 184.43, and that is the same as the scale that the prices themselves are on. And you can compare overlays directly to the price bars. And this is the legend area that you see here. It shows you that our main ticker symbol is Apple. That is a daily chart. The closing value was 208.74. It had a 50-day moving average and a 200-day moving average, as well as volume overlaid onto it. So this whole area here is the main price plot area. Also, this is the volume scale over here. All right. And I point that out because I want to make sure because in just a second, when we start to use the Sharpcharts workbench, you're going to need to know where you're changing stuff. So sometimes you're changing stuff here in the price plot area. Other times you're changing stuff in other places. Up above, and in this case down below as well, the price plot area can be additional panels. These are called indicator panels. And indicators are typically placed above and below the price plot because they are on different scales. They have different vertical scales. Notice that this particular indicator goes from negative 7.5 to positive 5. If we tried to plot that on the same scale as our price bars, it'd be way, way down at the bottom. It wouldn't make any sense. So these are not prices. These are indicator values, and they need to be plotted on a separate scale. That's why they're in a separate window. And you have the ability to put many indicators above or many indicators below your chart. You have the ability to add many overlays to your chart as well. So we got the price plot, we got overlays, we got indicators. So it's important to keep that in mind. Because now let's talk about the workbench itself. Let's talk about the user interface, the things above and below the chart here. We have a top area that you see here. This is where the main ticker symbol appears. This is also where the period appears, and we can change the period if we want to see like a 10-minute chart instead. Change that and hit update. Now we've got 10-minute bars. Everything else stayed the same, but we now have 10-minute bars. We can also turn on, this is important for when the market's open, we can turn on auto refresh. Auto refresh will keep the chart up to date even if we're not actively working with it. So we can put the chart off in a browser window, leave it alone on our screen somewhere. If auto refresh is turned on, then the chart will remain up to date with the latest data. Auto refresh only works when the market's open. So if you try it right now, it's not going to do much. But later when the market opens again on, I guess it's Tuesday, you'll be able to turn these on. Extra members have a 15-second auto refresh or longer. Pro members can go down to 5-second auto refresh. Something else that you can do with up here in the upper areas, you can turn on the inspector. And the inspector gives you an interactive way to see what the values are for each bar on the chart. You can also locate the values for indicators, so on and so forth. So inspect gives you some of that interactivity that you're used to. There's also the ability to save your chart. We're going to come back to that in a little bit. Down below the chart, we've got an area here called chart attributes. These settings apply to the chart as a whole. Okay. You have a question?
There's actually a question specifically regarding this. Can you change the spread in price? So showing that in chart attributes for either zooming in or getting maybe a little bit more.
Sure, absolutely. So that's all about what the range settings here in chart attribute is all about. So right now, range has a very important impact on the chart that you see. Right now, I'm using a range setting called fill the chart. This is the range setting we recommend for most people. Fill the chart is all about you want to see the rightmost part of the chart. You want to see the most up-to-date bar as of right now. If that's true, you're kind of watching the right edge of the chart. Many people are fill the chart's going to be the mode for you in range. You have a choice then of how many pixels wide you want your bars to be. In this case, I have them 5 wide. And you also have a choice of whether you want any space between the pixels. So right now I have 0, but I can, by changing the gap to 1 and then hitting update, I now have a gap between each bar. And I can actually, if I really wanted to get crazy, I can make that gap really wide. And now there is, and so fill the chart, we simply, we will draw as many candles as we can going backwards until we run out of room on the chart. And that's where the chart starts. So the chart starts wherever we have room for, and it goes until today. That's how fill the chart works. On the other hand, you might want to do things differently. Now, let me take this back to my preferred setting, which is 5 and 0. You might want to do things where you just want to see 10 days worth of data. Okay, you don't care how big the candles are. You don't care what they look. You want to see 10 days of data, and you want it to fit into the space that you've allocated for the chart. And so that's what this is showing. So here's an example with a 10-minute chart, 10 days of data for a 10-minute chart. Notice that some of these bars are getting pretty small. It's kind of hard to see. They've been scrunched together because we didn't have enough room. If I took this maybe back down to an hourly chart, now I've got fewer bars, and I can probably get all that stuff fitted. Yeah, I can get 10 days worth of hourly bars fitted into this space without scrunching. But at some point, especially, let's go down to a single minute, at some point, we have to scrunch these bars. And so that's the danger, if you will, of using a predefined range of a fixed amount of time. Again, it depends on what you're trying to look at, whether or not that's important to you or not. It may be that it's more important to see the entire data, even if the candles are scrunched. Fill the chart, though, is going to make sure you don't have any scrunch candles at all. It's going to show you as many candles as it can, given the size that you select. So maybe you select 3 instead of 5. Now we can get more data onto here. The final thing you can do, actually, there are a couple other things you can do. You can select a start and end date where you type in the beginning date and the ending date, which is typically today, but it could be whatever. And then we will we'll draw the candles as best we can, or the bars as best we can. Notice that you also, with start and end date, you also now have access to our interactive, whoops, where do we go? Oh, yeah. Got to get off of 1 minute. This is much better on a daily chart. Go back to a daily chart. And we can now use, we call this our Ranger control. So this allows me to interactively just slide a window back through time in order to see things. It also allows me to play this really fun game of what happens next. So I can click on this little arrow here, and I advance the chart by 1 day, 1 period, each time I click on the little button. And so that's a very nice educational tool if I want to see or want to kind of begin to predict what the stock might do based on indicators. I can go back in time, pretend I don't know what the stock is going to do, and then step forward 1 day at a time. Very, very cool. Anyway, so the other kind of chart attribute things that you can have besides range have to do with the style of the chart. I've been showing you candles, but you can also do solid lines. You can do area charts, lots and lots of different stuff. You can control colors, up color and down color, and color schemes. We have many, many different color schemes to choose. I always prefer Murphy myself. There we go. And I prefer, let's go with the OHLC bars thick. Oh, no, actually, yes. Let's go with Elder Impulse System. I like Alexander Elder's approach where the bars get colored red, green, or blue. Green is good, red is bad, blue is neutral. And you can read more about Elder's Impulse System in our chart school. Anyway, so the point is there are lots and lots of different settings here, but you notice all these settings and chart attributes affect the entire chart. That's the important thing to understand. This is for the entire chart, and stuff like scale and other kinds of stuff, log scale, all that stuff. I encourage you to play with it. Below that is the overlays area, and below that is the indicators area. So this is how you add technical overlays on top of the price bars. We have 2 right now, and this is how you add indicators above and below the price bars. Notice that, again, I'm brand new to the site, so I've got advanced options, but they're closed. I strongly encourage you to click on these green triangles, open up these advanced options. It gives you more things to play with, including colors and other kinds of settings that you can do. I'm going to have to leave it there. We've got lots and lots of overlays. We've got lots and lots of indicators. When you fill up the 3 that you initially see, we'll get you a 4th one, and then a 5th one, and so on and so forth. So you can add as many as you want, so on and so forth. All right, any other questions right now, Zach?
Again, most all of them are regarding ACP, so we'll get there.
All right, that's interesting. But again, I need to make sure everyone's very familiar with Sharpcharts before we get into the more advanced stuff. One last thing I need to mention on Sharpcharts. So let me go back to the standard default style. Here's the standard style. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away one of these indicators because I need the screen space. Okay, and now I'm going to click on a link right here. Right below the chart to the left is a link called Annotate. And Annotate brings up our annotation tool that allows you to draw trend lines and other kinds of line studies on your chart. You have to shift into this mode in order to draw these trend lines. You can also do text, you can do shapes. There's a zillion different things that we have. You may have seen other people doing these kinds of things on their charts. The nice thing about this is once you're done and you hit save, and I'm going to just save this into a default chart for now, we can keep these lines in place and up to date as time marches on. As more and more bars are added to the right, later next week and the week after and so on and so forth, all of these trend lines will stay up to date. You'll be able to watch them evolve over time and see if your predictions were correct. Anyway, so that's chart notes. Our annotation tool is right here in the lower left. All right, let's see. I've got 2 more things to talk about, but Zach wants me to take a break. So tell you what, we're going to take a break, and I'll be right back. We're going to talk about saving charts and viewing chart lists.
Missed a live show? Want to rewatch a workshop? Tune into the StockCharts TV YouTube channel to catch up on the latest programming and content. All of our live shows, workshops, special guests, and more can be found there. Each category has its own playlist, so it's easy to locate. We even have chart school and creative strategy videos to help you become a better technical trader. Leave comments for our commentators, like your favorite videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And we're back. So getting lots of great questions, I understand, about our alternate charting platform, ACP. I'm not going to be talking about that today. I apologize, but I will be announcing a new show at the end of this show where we will be talking about that. For right now, again, I've got to really focus in on the standard stuff. I want to make sure everybody has this good baseline to build from. ACP is cool, but I got to get the baseline in. So I just did something at the end of the last demonstration that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of, is I saved a chart into a chart list. So chart lists are folders that you have. Essentially, they're like directories. If you think of a hard disk, they're folders that you can store charts into. Basic members have 1 chart list. Extra members have 250, and pro members, I think, have 350. I think that's where things are at still. And what you can do is you can create new chart lists. You can then use them to categorize your charts. Let's say you have a portfolio. You want to put all of your charts associated with stocks you own in that portfolio into that particular chart list, so on and so forth. So when you save a chart, you give the chart a name and you store it inside a chart list, which also has a name. and you can use chart lists to categorize the stocks and then view them. So right now, I only have one chart list because I haven't created it anymore. It's called default. And so if I try and drop down this second list in the workbench, I don't get anything. I have to create another chart list before that's going to be more useful. Similarly, right now, I only have 2 saved charts, Apple and Johnson & Johnson. So this isn't super useful yet, but you can see it will become more useful over time. So I just clicked the arrow here, next chart, and here's that Johnson & Johnson chart I'd saved previously. I can click the back arrow, and now I see the Apple chart that I just saved a second ago. Yes?
Rob is asking, is there a way to simply just go right back to your default chart style?
There absolutely is. But I got to tell people about ChartStyles first, Rob, so hang on. We will absolutely get there too. Saving charts is done with the link here or the link here. If you're saving a new chart, you want to create a new copy of something, you can click, or you want to update an existing chart, you can click Save. If you want to create a brand new chart or you want to save a chart as a copy, you can use Save As. Delete will delete the chart from the chart list, and View All will show you all the charts in that particular chart list that you're selecting. So I just wanted to point out this area, make sure you're aware of it. This is the main controls that people use to manipulate chart lists. However, there's some other options for seeing chart lists that we'll look at in just a second. Now, to get to Rob's question and to get to the final thing that I need to talk about here on the workbench, this workbench is a little complex. I want to talk about ChartStyles. ChartStyles are a template for creating a chart that doesn't include the ticker symbol. In other words, it's everything about the chart except the ticker symbol. It's all the settings, the colors, the size, the range, the period, the indicators, the overlays, all the things that you've created for a particular chart without the ticker symbol. And what that means is once you create a chart and you really like it and you want to then use that chart for other ticker symbols, you should also save it as a chart style. And you can do that here with Add New. You can also edit one with Replace, so on and so forth. You can even delete chart styles. Chart styles appear here in this dropdown. Out of the box, we give you a bunch of different chart styles that are kind of predefined. So here's the Chip Anderson chart style, which, by the way, I need to update. It's a little old, and you can see those annotations. Let me actually change the ticker symbol here to get a new stock going. So here's a new stock, no annotation. So this is the Chip Anderson predefined chart style. There's a John Murphy chart style, which is actually way better than mine. These are the settings that John likes with his charts. Styles, so on and so forth. Several of our important commentators have contributed chart styles to the workbench, and they're there for you to use for free. You might just spend a little bit of time testing each one out and seeing what you like. The SEC default chart style is the style that you get as a new member. But as I mentioned, and this is the most important thing I want to tell you about the workbench right now today, you can change this style. This is not the style that you have to be stuck with for the rest of eternity. Let's say, for instance, that most of the time I'm going to be looking at a stock or a chart, and I'd like that chart to have the Murphy color scheme. I'd like that chart to have the Alexander Elder Impulse System bars on it. I'd like that chart to not have these indicators, so I'm going to hit Clear All. And I would like this chart to have what we call our full quote box, which is the box up at the top with all the statistics. That's called the full quote box. And I added it by clicking on full quote right here. So let's say, just let's say, this is the kind of chart I want to see every time I pull up a new stock. Every time I type in a ticker symbol and I don't know anything about it, this is what I want to see. This is what we call the default chart style. And you want to make the default chart style, you want to save the default chart style. You don't want to use the one we gave you. You want to use this new one. And you do that by clicking the link here, Save as Default. So are you sure you want to make this the default chart style? Yes, I am. And now, boom, it happened. It is the default chart style. Now this, you may not believe me. let's go try something else. I'm going to go back here to my dashboard. Here's my ticker cloud. It's still available, and I'm going to click on Dust. I'm going to click on any ticker anywhere in the website. There's a ticker, and if I click on it, I'm going to now see a chart with my default settings. Does that make sense? So you're going to be able to quickly get there. It also is true of any time I type in a symbol. So if I type in forward here at the top and press enter, I'm going to see those styles. Those particular settings are now my default. Now, I believe Rob's question was, finally getting to your question, Rob, was what if I've got a chart up and I've changed things around? I started with my default style, but I've changed some settings around, and I don't know, I did whatever, created some crazy stuff. I've got this, and I want to get back to my default now. I've decided, well, this was crazy. I don't really need this anymore. I was out of my mind, and I want to get back to my default. How can I get back to my default? A couple of ways, but the easiest way is just to come here and select this arrow default setting from the drop down. That arrow default setting is your default chart style, and you can always get back to it using this drop down here, ChartStyles. All right, long way to go to answer Rob's question. Well, I need to move on in order to make sure I cover all the other important things that we got to cover. So let me go to my next slide and talk a little bit about customizing your account. So you've been working really hard. You've got all this stuff saved. You really want to make sure that your account is up to date as well. And the way that you customize the key parts of your account are up here under your name. So there's a little triangle here. You click on it, and there are a couple of different things here. But the most important thing I want to point out here is the gears, the item beside the gears called Your Account. So click on your name and then click on Your Account. This will give you the information about your account and where you currently stand. Again, if you're on the free trial, hopefully many of you are, then you will see free trial here. It means we haven't charged you yet, but notice I'm going to get charged on September 17th. So I want to make sure that everything is that everything is the way that I want it before September 17th. I have until then to play with all the crazy stuff. At this point, I'm an extra member. I can change that by clicking here. I'm scheduled to renew automatically on September 17th. I can change that by clicking here or by clicking cancel your account down at the bottom. Please don't click that. but you can if we're not meeting your needs, then absolutely cancel your account before we charge you. And then data plans. I mentioned that at the beginning of the show. This is how you could change your data plan from the standard plan maybe to one of the paid real-time plans. You would click here to do that. The most important thing you want to do right now, though, I think, is possibly change your password. We gave you a password that we kind of defined at the beginning. You get a random password when you sign up for your account. You probably want to change that to something that is more comfortable for you, more secure, whatever. You can do that by clicking right here, change your password. If you do need to change your credit card, you can do that here. If you need to see if you're a member and we've already charged you a couple of times, you can also see all of those things by clicking view transaction. There are a bunch of other stuff. Members by default will automatically get notified whenever John Murphy posts a message. If you don't want that for whatever reason, you can click here to unsubscribe. So on and so forth. Bottom line is that the Your Account page is super valuable and useful to you, and I want to make sure that you understand where it is and how you can use it. Again, it's here under your name by clicking on the gears. All right, let's see, anything else to cover? I think I'm good on that.
We had a couple of questions regarding alerts, if you could go over that really quick on the member dashboard.
I can go over alerts generally, but we're not going to go over a lot of specific alerts. So alerts are where a particular technical situation happens and you've typed in some criteria. And when that alert occurs, we send you either a text message or an email or we put a notification up on your screen. Alerts are very similar to scans. And scans are super, there's a whole lot of detail in how you write and run scans. We're actually going to have a show on that because there's so much to it. I want to make sure that this covers the basics. We'll cover scanning and alerting in the other show. Okay. And so that's what this shows on my over on my presentation slides. We mentioned the ticker cloud. I've already talked about that. There are a couple other reports that I wanted to show you quickly. Here under the members tools, we have some reports and analysis tools. Market summary, sector summary, and scooter reports are some of the most important ones you have, although all of these can be useful. Quickly, market summary is going to give you a picture of all the important indexes, and you can just click on them to quickly see a chart for each one of them. So on and so forth with sectors, industries, countries, so on and so forth. This is your home for all the different kinds of indicator charts in terms of indexes that you want to see. It gives you a really nice overview of those things. That's called the market summary, and it's right here. More importantly, I find this one more interesting, and another kind of hidden gem is our sector summary. Sector summaries allow you to very quickly, with just a couple of clicks, find the strongest stock in the strongest industry in the strongest sector for the market right now. And so what it does, in this case, we're starting at the top level, looking at sectors, and we're looking at them based on their percent change for the past day. Let's change this. Let's go percent change over the past month. Okay. So what this is saying is over the past month, the utility sector has outperformed the other ones. It's up 4.6%. All the rest of them are generally down. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to click on utility sector fund. Now I'm looking at the industries inside of the utility sector. These are the Dow Jones industries that make up the utility sector. And we see that the water industry is the most, has been up 9% during that 1 month period. The other ones haven't been up quite so much. So now I'm going to click on water. Now this is showing me all the stocks that are in the water industry. And we can see again over the course of 1 month that American States Water Company, AWR, is up 20% during the past month. Did you know that? I did not know that. And it can give you, so you can quickly drill down into that particular stock. And so what's going on with the chart, with the stock? Now I can pull up my microscope, my the StockCharts workbench, the Sharpcharts workbench, and really dig into AWR and maybe try and figure out what's going on with that move. And boy, it's been a pretty nice move actually since July. There's very few red or blue bars here. These are all green bars going up. Nice move by American States Water Company. I hope you own it. But the point is, again, our sector summary, and you can choose the period that you want to choose. 3 months is also a great period to look at. You could look at intraday while the market's open as well. But the sector summary gives you basically the strongest stock in the strongest industry in the strongest sector just with 3 quick clicks. Really nice. Scooters, another quick thing. I'm running out of time. There's lots to cover. Scooters are StockCharts Technical Rank, SCTR. This is a great way to quickly summarize a whole lot of technical information in a single number. This is a number that we create. This is a StockCharts.com specific number that shows you or tells you how strong a stock's technicals are compared to all the other stocks in its particular industry. So you can get to scooters in a variety of ways, but what I wanted to show you in this way is here from the members dashboard. Scroll down on members tools, find the reports and analysis tools, and find the scooter reports link. Click on that. Now, it is initially going to show you for large cap stocks what stock has the highest scooter values. Scooters go from 0 to 100. And we can see here 99.9 is the scooter value for Market Access Holdings, Inc., a financial company in the investments services industry. And that sounds pretty good. Let's see if we can figure out why it might have that ranking. Well, look at that chart. That's a pretty strong chart. That stock's been going up since February at least. And I guess I might have to look at a longer, maybe I need to look at gallery view for this thing. I can come down here and click on gallery view. And now I can see an even longer term picture of what's going on. Yeah, it's just been skyrocketing since the beginning of the year. Very, very, very powerful stock. The point and figure chart is very, very up, very, very tall because the stock's been moving up so high. So I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention, did not know about market access holdings. Hopefully you did. It's an example, again, of a scooter that's of a stock that's been doing very well and therefore has been rewarded with a very high scooter ranking. Similar for all of these other stocks. And I encourage you, once this broadcast is over, to go back to this scooter report and check out some of our highly ranking scooter stocks. All right, let's see. One last thing I want to show you. I've got a couple more minutes, so I'll show you one more thing. And this hints at where I want to go with the next show here. So in addition to charting, StockCharts has scanning and alerting capability. The scanning is a whole show onto itself. I can't get into the details of scanning right now, but I can show you this one thing over here in Members Tools, predefined scans. So in addition to custom scans, those are the ones you write yourself, we also have predefined scans. These are scans that we've come up with. They're not super sophisticated scans, but they're pretty good, and they can give you a lot of really interesting information if you look at this report. So the predefined scans results page will show you for each of the scans that we've created, and you can see here, they're very simple ones: new 52-week highs, bullish MACD crossovers, improving chicken money flow, so on and so forth. You can see the number of stocks that qualify for that scan right now, in total. And then you can also see them broken down by their market or their exchange or their country, so on and so forth. And also we break out the mutual funds separately. You can also see the change in those numbers from yesterday. And what's really nice is this gives you a macro sense of how well the market's doing. Again, we saw on Friday the market was mixed, and this is confirming the fact that the market's mixed. We've got some of these bullish scans are green, some of the bullish scans are red. Some of the bearish scans are green, some of the bearish scans are red. That's a great example of a mixed market. But we can click on any of these and drill down and see, like the 10 breakaway gap up stocks. Here they are. I can now click on one of these, say Quick Start Holdings, and then quickly see, well, okay, this is a bit of a low trade stock, so not the best, but it qualified for our scan, and so we returned it. Anyway, I encourage you to play around as a start of exploring our scan capability. Play around with the predefined scan results. All right. Getting more help, don't forget, Chart School is the Wikipedia of everything technical. Go to Chart School, search around. You can learn about anything that we have on our site. We have a free newsletter called Chart Watchers that hopefully most of you have subscribed to. That comes out once a week. It summarizes all of the articles that our commentators provide. Our articles are all here on the articles page. I encourage you to check that out frequently. You see the latest from John Murphy, as well as all the other commentators that we provide here on StockCharts. StockCharts TV, I assume you guys know about it since you found this program. Here it is. I could watch myself watching myself. That would be kind of crazy. Let me not do that. But StockCharts TV is another great source of education and getting help. As I mentioned, we have our YouTube channel where this program and all of our StockCharts TV programs can be found. Finally, I want to mention the help link right here. Help over here on the right will take you directly to our support center where you can search, find a whole bunch of information that's online, or you can contact our support team. Press the orange button, fill out the questions. Our support team, who works very, very hard, really hard, will try and get back to you as quickly as possible with an answer to your question. So there's always help available at StockCharts is the bottom line there. Any last questions, Zach?
Again, a ton of them was about our ACP. We'll get that in a different presentation. Yep, that's about it.
It's really hard to cover everything that the site does in an hour, and I've skipped over the good stuff, frankly, or a lot of the good stuff. So I appreciate you hanging in there with me. I apologize for not getting to ACP today, but as part of this feedback, what we've done and what we're doing is we're announcing 3 new shows today. We will have a show called StockCharts Deep Dive. It'll probably kick off in 2 weeks. We will have another show called Scanning with StockCharts, specifically for scanning and alerts, because that's such a big topic. That will also kick off in a couple of weeks. And then finally, we'll have Mailbag Live. We'll get our customer support team in here specifically to answer your questions live. those are the things that we have coming up. Hopefully you got a lot out of this show, even though we didn't cover everything. I will see you again in my next show. Until then, take care and goodbye.